This case was declared closed until a shocking new witness spoke. On the night of April 19, 1989, New York City was gripped by fear. Central Park, usually a place of jogging, biking, and evening strolls, became the scene of a crime that would shock the nation. Trisha Maley, a 28-year-old investment banker, was found unconscious in a secluded area of the park. She had been brutally assaulted and left for dead. The attack was so severe that doctors feared she might never fully recover. Within days, police arrested 5 teenage boys: Raymond Santana, Kevin Richardson, Antron McCrae, Yusuf Salam, and Corey Wise. The media portrayed them as violent predators who had terrorized the park. But the truth was far more complex. These young men did not commit the attack, yet their lives were about to be changed forever. The night of April 19, 1989, was chaotic. Crime rates were high, and public anxiety was at its peak. Around 9 p.m., roughly 30 teenagers entered Central Park. Some were simply hanging out, while others began causing disturbances, throwing rocks, harassing passersby, and damaging property. Police received multiple reports, but struggled to control the chaos. Meanwhile, Trisha Maley took her usual running route near the reservoir. Around 10 p.m., she was ambushed, dragged into a wooded area, and attacked. The assault was savage. She suffered a fractured skull, severe hypothermia, and extensive blood loss. 2 men walking their dogs discovered her and called for help. Paramedics rushed her to the hospital, where she underwent emergency surgery. Doctors were uncertain if she would survive. The news sent shockwaves through the city. Within days, police detained several teenagers who had been in the park. 5 of them, Santana, Richardson, McCrae, Salam, and Wise, were arrested. None had prior knowledge of Trisha Maley or the attack. They were initially held for minor offenses connected to park disturbances, but soon became the focus of a high-profile investigation. Police, under immense pressure to solve the case quickly, interrogated the teenagers in long, exhausting sessions, often without parents or lawyers present. Under threats, intimidation, and promises of leniency if they confessed, the boys eventually gave statements. The confessions were inconsistent and contradictory. Despite this, authorities treated the statements as conclusive proof of guilt. The media fueled public outrage. Newspapers and television networks labeled the boys as part of a wolf pack, portraying them as dangerous criminals. The teenagers, all black or Latino, became symbols of fear in a racially tense city. Formal charges were filed, including attempted murder, rape, and assault. Defense attorneys pointed out the lack of physical evidence linking the boys to the crime and highlighted inconsistencies in their statements. However, public opinion demanded harsh punishment. The trials of the Central Park Five began in 1990 and became media spectacles. The prosecution relied heavily on the coerced confessions, while defense attorneys highlighted the contradictions and lack of DNA evidence. In the first trial, McCrae, Salam, and Santana were convicted of rape, assault, and attempted murder, receiving sentences ranging from 5 to 10 years in juvenile detention facilities. The second trial, for Richardson and Wise, followed soon after. Wise, 16 at the time, was tried as an adult and sentenced to 5 to 15 years in prison, spending part of his term at Rikers Island, notorious for violence and overcrowding. Richardson received a juvenile sentence. Despite the absence of physical evidence, confessions formed the cornerstone of the prosecution's case. Life in confinement was harsh. For Santana, Richardson, McCrae, and Salam, juvenile detention meant constant challenges, including violence, strict discipline, and psychological stress. Wise faced even greater danger in adult facilities, where high-profile inmates were often targeted. Months in solitary confinement left lasting psychological scars. Despite hardships, the boys sought to survive and maintain dignity. They pursued education, participated in therapy, and leaned on one another for support. Their families endured public scrutiny and personal hardship, traveling long distances to visit and fighting tirelessly to prove their son's innocence. A breakthrough came more than a decade later. In 2001, Corey Wise learned about Matias Reyes, a convicted murderer and serial rapist who confessed to attacking Trisha Meili alone. Reyes provided details only the perpetrator could know, including the location of the attack and specific actions taken. DNA testing confirmed that Reyes's genetic material matched evidence from the crime scene. The confessions of the Central Park Five, which had been used to convict them, were proven false. The investigation that focused on the teenagers allowed a dangerous criminal to remain free, while innocent boys suffered in prison. In 2002, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office recommended vacating the convictions, citing Reyes's confession, DNA evidence, and systemic failures in the original investigation. The exoneration brought relief, but could not erase the years lost, or the emotional damage. In 2003, the five men filed a civil lawsuit against the city of New York. The case lasted over a decade, ending in a $41 million settlement in 2014. Although the money could not replace the lost years, it was an acknowledgement of the injustice. For the five men, the settlement symbolized accountability and a measure of justice. Even after exoneration, challenges remained. Employment was difficult due to gaps in education and work experience. Public skepticism lingered. Trust in law enforcement and government institutions had been deeply eroded. Despite this, the men channeled their experiences into advocacy. Yusuf Salam became a public speaker focusing on wrongful convictions and racial bias in the criminal justice system. Corey Wise advocated for prison reform and support for those affected by wrongful convictions. Raymond Santana worked to rebuild his community and support youth facing systemic disadvantages. Collectively, they turned personal tragedy into a platform for raising awareness and preventing similar injustices. The story of the Central Park Five forced society to confront uncomfortable truths about media coverage, racial bias, and flaws in the justice system. It highlighted the dangers of coerced confessions and rushed investigations. It also demonstrated how fear of crime can lead to scapegoating, particularly of vulnerable populations. Documentaries, interviews, and dramatizations, such as the Netflix series When They See Us, brought renewed attention to the case, allowing the public to see the men as human beings rather than criminal caricatures. Their courage inspired discussions on legal reform, police accountability, and the importance of fair treatment in the criminal justice system. The Central Park Five case is more than a story of wrongful convictions. It is a lesson in perseverance, justice, and resilience. It illustrates the devastating impact of systemic failures and public hysteria, while demonstrating the power of truth and accountability. The men's journey underscores the need to protect the rights of the accused, particularly minors, and ensure justice systems operate fairly and impartially. The events of April 19, 1989, changed countless lives. Trisha Meili survived her attack, though the trauma of that night remained. The five teenagers endured years of imprisonment, public shaming, and psychological harm. Yet after years of struggle, their names were cleared, and the truth prevailed. Their exoneration serves as a reminder that justice, though delayed, can be achieved. It is a testament to human resilience and a warning to society about the consequences of rushing to judgment. The story of the Central Park Five continues to resonate, highlighting the need for fairness, the courage to speak the truth, and the enduring fight for justice. Through advocacy, the men have worked to prevent other innocent individuals from suffering similar injustices. Their experiences have inspired reforms in interrogation procedures, the treatment of minors in the legal system, and media coverage in high-profile cases. The Central Park Five story is now part of a broader dialogue about criminal justice reform, racial inequality, and systemic accountability. Ultimately, the story is about more than crime or punishment. It is about endurance, hope, and the ability to rise above injustice. Despite unimaginable hardship, the Central Park Five refused to be defined by wrongful convictions. They reclaimed their lives, told their story, and used their experiences to advocate for change. The lessons extend far beyond the individuals involved. They call on society to recognize the dangers of prejudice, the importance of due process, and the responsibility of institutions to uphold the rights of all citizens. The Central Park Five case reminds us that justice is not only about punishment, but about truth, fairness, and the courage to correct mistakes. The exoneration is a powerful example of human resilience in the pursuit of justice. While the events caused immense pain and suffering, they also highlighted flaws in the system and the need for vigilance. The men's story has become a symbol of hope, a testament to the importance of truth, and a reminder that justice must be pursued relentlessly.